Good morning. This is Kentucky Life with Debbie on a Monday morning, July the 7th of 2025. And July is just rolling along, and before you know it, it's going to be August. And before you know it, school is going to be starting. So the poor teachers that are having a few days off better enjoy it, because it comes around sooner than you want it to. Hey, I hope you've had a great 4th of July weekend, and I hope everyone's got their fireworks out of their system. I sure have. I mean, last night, even living out here in the country, there are some people that own a house across the road from us. And I think they live in the city, and, they think it's a big deal to shoot fireworks. So about 9:30 or 10, they decide to shoot fireworks. And my little Max even got a little up in the air about it last night, but he did okay. But some people said their cats even got nervous about the fireworks. So, I don't know. Whatever floats your boat. I'm not going to get all in a big stink about it. If you've noticed, I just have checked just right before I got on here, and my sub count at this moment is 963. So I better get myself in gear and get ready to talk to my husband, because, hey, it could happen any day now. It could happen today. It could happen tonight. So I'm going to get my story and tell him, and I'll say, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So I'm going to let you know how that goes, because I know you're excited. I'm a little nervous. I'm not really, but can you imagine February, the last February, March, April, May, June, a little over 4 months. And I never keep a secret from him. But we'll just see how he responds. Well, it's a beautiful day here, except every day for about the next week, there are chances of thunderstorms and some rain, and it might cool it off a little bit, so who knows? Yesterday, my girl and me went to the little church that we'd been going to, and I wrote down, because I wanted to tell you, yesterday there were 11 people there. They're 2 small children, and they were with their grandparents, and then the rest of us, well, including the grandparents, are all over 65. But it was just a good little service. And I played the piano. The lady led the singing, and we sang America. We sing that song and not think about the seriousness of it, but aren't you glad to live in a free country? And we sang that and let the words soak in. And then we had, our prayer request. And I always say unspoken prayer request, because I want to remember the people that's here on YouTube that are having a hard time. Plus, I've got family. I've got events in my life that I want to pray about. I've got friends here. I've got a lot of unspoken requests. But the Lord knows what they are. We don't have to say Jane, Joe, Mary, Jack, and we don't have to name their names. He knows who we are thinking about. Israel, unsaved, a lot of prayer requests. Leaders of our country, we need to pray for them every day. But yesterday I thought it was interesting, the guy that leads it, the superintendent, he talked about the chapter in Luke 16 about the rich man and the poor man. The rich man had everything in the world he could ever desire. And he watched this poor Lazarus, who was just a beggar, not well, would sit at his on the floor, on the ground, to get crumbs from the rich man's table. And of course, the rich man never gave him the time of day. And then Lazarus, the poor man, died and went to heaven. The rich man died and went to hell and was crying out, "Oh, please send Lazarus, or send Lazarus to give me just water on the tip of my tongue. Send someone to talk to my 5 brothers who are, not ready to die and go to heaven." And I thought, isn't it sad that we get to that point, that we go through our whole life and ignore so many words to help you make the right decisions, and then you don't. And then look at Lazarus. It reminded me of a lady I know that I used to work with. And we would go to the different schools and walking down the hall, maybe meet the janitor, maybe go in the cafeteria and see go by or see one of the cooks out there. And I'm not trying to praise myself, but this is the way I feel in my heart. I would always stop and talk to them, speak to them, encourage them, where this one lady I know, she wouldn't give them the time of day because she felt better than them. Have you seen people like that feel better maybe than you? I have. And sometimes I've been intimidated even by them, by, the way they project themselves to be better than you. But we're not. We're all the same. We're all the same in God's eyes. And I know that he sees whenever we act like that we're bigger than we are. As the old saying goes, we all put our pants on the same way. But it's just amazing how in this world, in our society, the people that feel so important. Now, people that do, even that are around you, but I'm thinking, look at the celebrities. How great they think they are, that they can get by with anything. Look at ball players, how we look up to them. And kids idolize ball players. And then when they do something really bad, like kill somebody or get caught with drugs or whatever, we kind of skim over that, don't we? Because look who they are. They're so important. They've got all this money. But now I like one guy I really like is Steve Harvey, because he's funny. I love to laugh. I love to see funny people. But if you will listen to his testimony, he's really humble. He is so thankful. He gives God the praise so many times for, what he's got. And he said at one time he had lived out of his car. So he knows what it means to have nothing and to build upon that. But there's a lot of famous people that are humble and thankful for what they've got. A lot of these ball players, when they talk to them, they'll say, they want to thank God for giving them the talent to play ball or whatever. I like to hear that. I like for people to give praise to him, because without him, we're nothing. Now, here's another thing. Oh, see, hey, look, I've got this note, and a little bit on this note. And a funny story is coming. So let me see what else I want to say. All right. This is something else I was going to say. Our service yesterday at church lasted about an hour. But I got a lot out of that, even from the singing to just, socializing with the people that were there, listening to the superintendent explain this verse, talk about this verse or chapter with us. Is that as acceptable as me going and sitting for 2 hours and being not enjoying the service? Which is the best? I know in my heart which is the best. Now, we keep talking about being kind, and someone had said this other day that we need to smile more at other people. And I've been trying to do that, and people have made me more aware of this since I've been watching YouTube, to be more friendly, I guess we could say, to others. Now, if I'm in the grocery store and I'm going in and someone's coming out, I try to smile at them. Or sometimes I'll say, good morning, or how are you, or something, and I don't even know them. But 99% of the time, the people will respond to that. And they usually will smile back at you. So if you've not tried that, today, give someone a little smile and see how it works. And it might just make their day, because you don't know what they've been through. You don't know what they're going through. So just give that a little try and let's see how it works. You might report back the percentage of people that smile back at you. I was thinking the other day, I think I've been keeping a tablet in there on the couch whenever I'm watching my YouTube videos, and I write down ideas. Now, if my husband was aware of my doings, he would notice that I don't normally have a little tablet and a pen on the couch with me, and then I'm writing things down. But see, he doesn't notice that. But also, I have been writing down, like if I'm watching a channel and they'll say, oh, watch such and such, this new channel, and I'll write them down, because I've got lists of different channels that's been promoted, and I try to look at them. So, when I was sitting there thinking the other day, I thought, what effect does YouTube have on creators? What has this done for our lives? Well, and I know this glares on my glasses, but who can be a YouTube creator? Do you have to have a college education? Do you have to have a lot of money? Do you have to have a lot of equipment? And the answer to all those is no. Because you know what? If you cannot get out of your house, you can be on YouTube. Because as you have watched, I do nothing extra on mine. I put no fancy hummingbirds, Cynthia, fluttering around at the beginning of the video, which is very pretty, but at this point, I'm not going to do that, because I want you to see, and I want to prove to myself that I don't have to have fancy things in my videos for you to watch. I want to be here just to share with you, to share some funny stories, to find out how to get a stain out of a shirt, how to do life as a senior citizen. Isn't that awful? A senior citizen. I want to encourage you. I want to make you look forward when you see that I've put a video up, that you want to see that video. Not that it's going to just change your life, but that you will be encouraged. And that we can be friends. When, in 10 years ago even, 10 years ago, I don't know that I knew about YouTube. if it was, I don't know when YouTube started. But think of the advantages that we have today to be able to reach out and meet all these new people. There's some of these people I feel like that I've known. Grandma Lois, I mean, she's just like my sister. And we think so much alike. It's just unreal. Cynthia at Senior Insights. Tracy at Life in the Wild West. Emmy in England. We've got so much in common, but here we are, thousands of miles away from each other. And it's so interesting to me to meet all these new people and see what their life is like. But when it all boils down to the nitty-gritty, we are all so much alike. So much alike, aren't we? And even today, after February, March, April, May, June, about 4.5 months of doing this, I am having so much fun. And if you will talk to most of the creators, they're having so much fun. Plain Vanilla Grandma, Carol, how would I have ever met her? And she's grieving over her daughter's little dog that passed away. And man, I know how that feels. You know, at this very moment, there are people grieving over losing a pet, a loved one, losing a job, getting a divorce, sickness, so many different things. And then look at all the people that's just living their normal life. Life is so crazy, isn't it? We can't understand it because God's ways are bigger than our ways. And we don't need to try to figure it out. We don't need to be paid zillions of dollars to try to figure it out, because I accept that God's ways are higher than our ways. So let's just get along with it. Now, I was thinking about, I sound like Grandma Lois jumping from one thing to the next, and then she can go right back and pick up where she left off. See, I can't do that. What does it take to be a YouTube creator? Well, you have to be able to probably sit down. Can you do that? Have I ever stood up in a video? No. You don't have to be able to walk or run or sing. You can just be yourself. The only difference in what you're seeing in me right now is that I may have put on a little makeup. But guess what? I've got some rat killing to do here pretty soon. I've got to go get licensed for 2 vehicles, go to the bank. What else? I've got just some errands to run, and then I'm going to meet my girl at 11 when she gets off for lunch because she's working today. So I thought I'll just make this video before I leave the house and get it put up, and maybe somebody would enjoy seeing it this morning. All right. Let me go back again, Grandma Lois, to the YouTube creators. Can you imagine the people that we are reaching out and touching for? You know, as I've said, there are so many different channels that you can find on here, anything you want to find. But look, in just these 4.5 months, the people I have found that are kind of like-minded with me, and that we're building that community. And look at the people that are looking for us. Grandma Lois said that old Mike on Old Me Living Better called us talking heads. And since that's about all you can see, I totally agree with that. And I like it. I like it. It's just like we're just FaceTiming you on the phone, except you can't talk back. And that's the fun part, is because, see, I can just rattle on, and hopefully you'll listen. And don't forget to hit that thumbs up. And also, if you don't want to comment, I love those comments, but if you don't want to comment, just put a heart. It just helps our channels grow. And that's what we want to do. We want to grow and reach more people, encourage more people, love more people, share share our lives, share encouragement. But if you're thinking about doing a YouTube channel, I think it's a great idea. And if you're scared to do it, you can just practice on your phone. Practice on your phone when no one's around, just talking, and you can watch yourself. And if you don't like it, just delete it. Then when you get ready to upload it, that's another can of worms. Hey, I'm going to read a funny story. I've got to get out of here. If you could see what I've got to do. But here's a funny story, and this is 7/7/25. Today is my brother-in-law's 77th birthday, and he has just taken my husband for a ride in the truck. So, funny story. Seems like I was going to say something else, but who knows. A man who just died is delivered to the mortuary wearing an expensive, expertly tailored black suit. The mortician asked the deceased wife how she would like the body dressed. He points out that the man does look good in the black suit he's already wearing. The widow, however, says that she always thought her husband looked best in blue. And that's what she wants him, in a blue suit. She gives the mortician a blank check and says, I don't care what it costs, but please have my husband in a blue suit for the viewing. The woman returns the next day for the wake. To her delight, she finds her husband dressed in a gorgeous blue suit with a subtle chalk stripe that the suit fits him perfectly. She says to the mortician, whatever this cost, I'm very satisfied. You did an excellent job, and I'm very grateful. How much did you spend? To her astonishment, the mortician presents her with the blank check. There's no charge, he said. No, really, I must compensate you for the cost of that exquisite, am I saying that right? Exquisite blue suit. Exquisite. Beautiful blue suit, the woman says. Honestly, madam, the mortician says, it costs nothing. You see, a deceased gentleman of about your husband's size was brought in shortly after you left yesterday, and he was wearing an attractive blue suit. I asked his wife if she minded him going to his grave wearing a black suit instead, and she said it made no difference as long as he looked nice. Then it was just a matter of switching the heads. Oh, God. That's awful. Listen, I hope you have a great day. It's Monday. Let's get this week started with a smile and feeling better. And if you need a little uplifting this morning, say the Lord's Prayer. Remember, we said that the other day. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever. Amen. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you soon with maybe some big news. Have a good day.